and welcome to CVTV News. I'm David Kerr.
And I'm Deedra Haven.
We're brought to you by Germanna Community College. Today we have back with us, thank goodness, Deedra Haven, who has been spending the past 3 weeks in Florida, sunny Florida. Deidre, it's 16 degrees outside.
I did not bring the sunshine with me. Well, maybe the sunshine, but just not the temperature from Florida.
Well, we next time do better.
I'll work on that, I promise.
Yes. Last night it was 4 degrees. But we'll think Florida thoughts. In fact, we might even have a palm tree brought into the set before long. Deirdre, I understand there's some really interesting things happening when it comes to copyright and opening of domains to some very famous works, art pieces.
Absolutely.
Could you tell us about it?
I will. With all the New Year's festivities, you may have missed Public Domain Day.
I did.
That was on January 2nd. On January 2nd, the 1998 Sonny Bono Copyright Term Extension Act expired.
I've got you, babe.
Sonny Bono was a songwriter, producer, actor, mayor of Palm Springs, California, and a Republican congressman for the California's 44th District. Contrary to belief, the original bill was not sponsored by him, rather a subsequent revision in partnership with 4 other representatives. It passed and was renamed in honor months after Bono's death. Before this bill passed, all copyright works of literature, painting, films, cartoons, academic papers, and music from 1922 were subject to be released into the public domain in 1998. The Sonny Bono Copyright Term Extension Act extended the copyrights for these works another 20 years, and that was to align with European regulations and strengthen U.S. payments. This extension encouraged investments in copyrighted products, provided for the estate and the descendants of authors and artists, and was designed to encourage the creativity of new works. Exceptions were made for libraries, archives, and nonprofit education institutions for preservation and research if the work was not commercially exploited and could not be obtained at a reasonable price.
That was an important qualification.
It was.
Yes.
It helped with research considerably. While corporate creations like Disney are still restricted for 120 years, as well as some exceptions for 70 years past the artist's death, all other works from 1922 are now public domain, meaning that they can be digitized, downloaded, repurposed, or shared freely. Anyone can publish an edition, create sequels and theater productions, print artwork, freely quote these works, and sell them. How does this affect the consumer? You may well see Russian painter Wassily Kandinsky or Georgia O'Keeffe's artwork on t-shirts, posters, tote bags, or in bed linens, selling for an outrageous price.
You might even pay it.
You might pay it if you don't have a consumer savvy tip I have coming up. You may hear a DJ remix and mash up to make the song "Yes, We Have No Bananas" into an electro swing or a rap version. Don't be surprised, however, if the YouTube copyright bots have not caught up with the mass public domain release and flag your upload should you use music from this time frame. Writers may attempt to edit and interpret works of famous authors like F. Scott Fitzgerald, William Faulkner, Ernest Hemingway, or Virginia Woolf. There may also be...
and don't forget Robert Frost.
Absolutely, Robert Frost. He was one of the folks that had released. There may also be a reintroduction of a wide variety of undefiled editions that were once out of print. If you're a thrifty DIY kind of person, one can save lots of money by accessing downloaded sites for ebooks like Internet Archive, Google Books, and Project Gutenberg, where you can search for and print for free. Hathitrust alone has uploaded over 53,000 international works from 1923, of which 17,650 are in English.
That's incredible, and I think that's really useful for our listeners and for our viewers. Well done.
As an entrepreneur and also as a consumer.
Yes, I'll be mostly the consumer, but I'm going to enjoy it. Well, there's been some news in the redistricting front in Virginia. There's going to be a major redistricting in Virginia, and it's happening right now, right in the middle of an election year. Some 26 districts of the Virginia House of Delegates are having their lines redrawn following a court decision. What's more, it's probably going to impact the outcome of this year's General Assembly elections. It all began with the 2016 case, Bethune-Hall versus Virginia Board of Elections, that claimed that 11 districts were drawn to consolidate African American voters as a means of limiting their impact on other electoral districts. The case made it all the way to the United States Supreme Court, who directed that the U.S. Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, you may be losing me in this, I understand, in Richmond proceed with developing a new map. They said redraw the lines. The idea was that it would more evenly distribute African American votes in other districts. The legislature itself declined to produce a new map of its own, so the court commissioned what's called a special master, in this case an expert in demographics, voting, and map making, to draw up a set of options. The judges, a three-judge panel, chose one of several options presented. As noted, the redrawing affects 26 districts, or there are 100 districts in the House of Delegates. According to various political pundits, at least 6 of these seats once considered safe for one party or the other, are now viewed as marginal. And with the legislature's split 49 to 51, that's a significant change.
Well, David, there were shots fired. No doubt one of the least welcome radio calls a police officer can receive. But that's what happened earlier this week. The Stafford County Sheriff's Office is investigating a shooting into an apartment building on Ebenezer Church Road that occurred in the early morning hours on Monday. Thankfully, there were no injuries as a result of the shooting. On January 28th, 2019, at approximately 2:51 a.m.
Why do things always happen in the middle of the night?
No good happens after midnight is what Mama said. Deputies arrived at an apartment building on Ebenezer Church Road, responding to a report that shots were fired into an occupied dwelling. Upon arriving, sheriff's deputies established a perimeter, and officers immediately made contact with the complainant. The complainant told deputies that there were 4 adults and 4 juveniles
who should have been in bed.
Yes, in the residence at the time of the incident. They heard the sound of gunshots and several rounds entered their apartment, shattering the windows. Thankfully, no one was struck or injured during the incident. Deputies found damage in 2 apartments. The drone team and canine units responded to the scene, but were unable to locate the suspect. The unidentified suspect is still at large, and the incident remains under investigation. This is not a minor matter. Serious injury or death could have just as easily been the outcome. Anyone with information on this incident is asked to contact the Sheriff's Office at 540-658-4400.
And I would say that one very important thing about our program is that these announcements of various activities, criminal activities in the county, make a real difference to the Sheriff's Department because they get tips they can use, information, background, anything you know is valuable.
Right. If you see something, say something. Or if you hear something, say something.
It doesn't matter. It might or might not lead to an arrest, but it's helpful. But we'll be right back after this.